We are, of course, the Pleiadians, and as we've said, it is our pleasure to be here at this time to communicate with you, to give you an opportunity to understand our energy and who we are. This one that speaks through us, we call her our vehicle. She has given you an opportunity to listen to her interpretation of what she feels is taking place as a result of our contact with her.
Not even a speck of a speck. Yet humans live their lives as though they are as big as gods.
Allow us to communicate an idea to you, once again, that we would like to call the span. This involves the idea of a span of time and timing that is now upcoming on your planet.
Although many direct experiences with these entities do seem to entail dread and negativity, there are plenty of accounts of positive experiences. Most of these experiences are found within the New Age movement, where the experiences are not direct physical contact, but rather spiritual through a process called channeling. This is where the person willingly invites entities who are referred to as the higher self, ascended masters, higher spiritual beings, extraterrestrial entities who are communicating telepathically, entities of higher densities, and a number of other alleged beings who are more evolved than human beings. Most of the quotes we've looked at in an earlier section of the ancient mystery schools and theosophy were all channeled information. In the case of Helena Blavatsky, the entity she channeled was named Kuthumi and El Mura, both of whom were considered ascended masters from northern India and Tibet. Alice Bailey channeled the entity Dejwal Kul, also considered an ascended master. Today there are several New Age teachers who claim to get their information from a source of a higher spiritual origin. David Icke claims he channeled entities he refers to as the guides.
And one great example of the way this works I came across, which the beings, which we call the guys, told us about.
You call them the guys?
The guys, yeah. It's not.
But the beings like
Tarot,
Rakorsky.
And yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Now
he was Jesus' father, Rakorsky.
That's right.
And Merlin as well.
Part of him was, yeah. That's right. The aspects.
David Wilcock claims he channeled an entity named Ra.
I am Ra. It is an honor and a privilege to greet you this day in the love and in the light of the one infinite Creator. Resonant raindrops, liquid light cascading down in a panoply of shapes and colors, unbeknownst to the conscious mind.
More and more people are beginning to claim that they are channeling Jesus Christ.
And certain aspects of Christianity in that organized religion that really belabors, and I don't mean that in a negative way, but the suffering that Jesus may or may not have experienced while he was on the cross. And in meditation about 2 years ago, he actually came to me in meditation. I wasn't asking for him to come forward. But it was a very, very powerful experience where he actually allowed me to feel what it was like on the cross. I was looking down and could see the pin in my feet as they were crossed, and it was so emotional. But I felt and experienced no pain. There was nothing associated with it.
This is very similar to mediumship and psychics who claim to be able to contact the dead through telepathic means. It is quite clear that the Bible explicitly prohibits the practice of divination, mediumship, and other spiritual practices which allow one to have direct contact with entities from another realm. In Deuteronomy 18:10-11, it states, quote, "Let no one be found among you who sacrifices his son or daughter in the fire, who practices divination or sorcery, interprets omens, engages in witchcraft or casts spells, or who is a medium or spiritist, or who consults the dead." End quote. But why is this so? Plenty of people who channel or have what are called gifts are happy with their ability to do so and would even go as far as to say that God gave them this ability for a greater purpose to help the world. It is my firm belief that God can take any situation and turn it into good. However, like most things in the Bible that God tells us not to do, He is only doing so to keep us from harm. The problem with channeling is that there is no way to know whether these entities which are being contacted are from God, as some suggest, or are counterfeits, in other words, demons working for Satan. It states in 2 Corinthians 11:14 through 15, quote, "And no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. It is not surprising then if his servants masquerade as servants of righteousness. Their end will be what their actions deserve." End quote. Then in 1 John 4:1 through 3, it states, quote, "Dear friends, do not believe every spirit, but test the spirits to see whether they are from God, because many false prophets have gone out into the world. This is how you can recognize the Spirit of God. Every spirit that acknowledges that Jesus Christ has come in the flesh is from God, but every spirit that does not acknowledge Jesus is not from God. This is the spirit of the Antichrist, which you have heard is coming and even now is already in the world." End quote. God is not in it to try to take away abilities or keep us from enjoying the likes of astral projection, outer body experiences, remote viewing, and other such alleged abilities that are so common and popular in the New Age just because He is cruel and acting as a cosmic police officer. Rather, He is simply giving us warnings and informing us to test the spirits so that we can be sure it is from God to protect us from deceiving spirits who are in it to draw our attention away from God and away from Jesus and ultimately away from the true message of salvation. How many of these folks who channel entities actually exercise this basic principle? And for those who claim they are channeling Jesus Christ, well, I suppose it's possible, but in my opinion, not very likely. Why would Jesus go directly against His own teachings to send a message to someone? The bottom line is that we ourselves can have a direct relationship with Jesus, not through channeling, but through a life of prayer. Prayer is not channeling. The key difference is that with prayer, we ourselves are humble, coming before God, speaking to Him directly as ourselves. With channeling, one's own body and mind are taken over, where the entity enters the physical body to deliver a message. Again, this is very similar to demonic possession. Demons do not have bodies. In fact, they seek to enter objects or the physical body as hosts. This is seen all over the Bible. On several accounts, the Bible speaks of demon-possessed people. In Mark chapter 5, a demon-possessed man replies to Jesus when asked what their name is, stating, quote, "My name is Legion," he replied, "for we are many." End quote. In Luke 4:35, we see Jesus casting out demons, where it states, quote, "Be quiet," Jesus said sternly, "come out of him." Then the demon threw the man down before them all and came out without injuring him. End quote. Later we see disciples of Jesus casting out demons in His name. Quote, "The 72 returned with joy and said, 'Lord, even the demons submit to us in your name.'" End quote. And in Luke 11:14, Jesus drives out another demon, stating, quote, "Jesus was driving out a demon that was mute. When the demon left, the man who had been mute spoke, and the crowd was amazed." End quote. The dangers of channeling are that you are allowing deceiving spirits enter into your body. It is dangerous not only for your own soul, but for others around you, such as friends and family. The danger is that it can lead to demonic possession and strongholds. It is my firm belief that exorcisms do not need to be performed exclusively by Catholic priests, as most believe, but can be done by those who have been saved by Jesus Christ. Many in deliverance ministries do this very thing under the name and authority of Jesus Christ. In 2003, a film crew for the WN Network filmed an exorcism of a demon-possessed girl. What you are about to see are excerpts from this broadcast.
Martina and her parents have been coming to see Padre Alfredo regularly for the past 6 months. The family has turned to the exorcist in an attempt to solve problems which have troubled their daughter since she was 8 years old. Although Martina comes to the sessions willingly, as soon as she enters Padre Alfredo's bunker, she suffers a violent reaction. For her own safety, she has to be restrained before the exorcism can begin.
Oh, tu l'inferno vai!
Prende l'acqua, padre, prende l'acqua, l'acqua, prende l'acqua. Lasciami! Prende l'acqua.
Sì, ci ho pensato, ma...
L'acqua, l'acqua.
Non ci ho pensato.
L'acqua.
Sta buona? Sta buona, forza. Sì, professore Vincenzo, però penso nel nome del Padre, del Figlio e dello Spirito Santo. Signore Gesù Cristo, Figlio di Padre, Padre, ti ringrazio. Ti do il tuo nome, è di Cristo, è di Cristo, è di Cristo. Ecco l'acqua del Ave Maria, piena di grazia, il Signore è con te. Tu sei benedetta fra le donne. Marigno. Ave Maria, piena di grazia, il Signore è con te. Tu sei benedetta fra le donne. Benedetta Santa Maria, ma libera. Ma Maria, no, maligno, Cristo è più forte. Cacciali via, di la verità. Di la verità a questa signora. Esiste o non esisti tu? Il demonio esiste o non esiste?
Esiste il demonio!
Come fai a dimostrarlo? Come fai a dimostrare che esiste?
Tutto!
Ma questo...
Io esisto! E chi non ci crede bene!
Ma questo...
Are the entities and alien abductions, spiritual beings and channeling and meditation, and straight-up evil demons one and the same? I would say yes. As we just saw, it's not hard to convince anyone that these demonic spirits are evil and are of the Antichrist. However, the other spirits that appear as angels of light may be more difficult to discern, especially the alleged ETs that seem to have a positive message to mankind. But let's look at the specific messages people received from alleged aliens and higher spiritual entities. David Wilcock supposedly channeled an entity named Ra. In his New Age ministry, he points to a book called The Law of One as an authoritative document which he claims is much more in tune with the truth than the Bible. The same entity, Ra, which Wilcock claims he channeled, was channeled through Carla Urquhart in the early 1980s and was documented in The Law of One. Let's look at what The Law of One has to say about Jesus Christ, the Bible, and Christianity. Upon asking who or what Jesus Christ is, Ra explained, quote, I am Ra, the one known to you as Jesus of Nazareth did not have a name. This entity was a member of fifth density of the highest level of the sub-octave. The particular mind-body-spirit complex you call Jesus is, as what you would call an entity, not to return except as a member of the Confederation speaking through a channel. However, there are others of the identical congruency of consciousness that will welcome those to the fourth density. This is the meaning of the returning. The entity was absolved karmically of the destruction of an other self when it was in the last portion of lifetime and spoke upon what you would call a cross, saying, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. In forgiveness lies the stoppage of the wheel of action, or what you call karma. End quote. So if we are to test the spirit in accordance to what we are told in 1 John, it confirms that Ra felt that Jesus was not God in the flesh, but simply another entity of higher spiritual levels, just like Ra and other ascended masters who chose to become part of the human race. This is a clever twisting and a deceptive way to deny Jesus' deity. Another interesting thing I noticed in the channeled writings of Ra was that not only did this supposed entity rarely use the name of Jesus in response to the questions about Jesus, but every time it did, it always referenced him by starting off with, the one you call, or the one it calls, or as you call this entity now. In other words, never was this entity able to directly say Jesus Christ. It always had to set it up so as to defer his deity. Ra goes on to explain his opinion of Christianity when he states, quote,